So I wanted to offer this uh, shorter practice for everybody to um, re-energize after maybe a longish day at work. I sit during the day for a lot of my day, and I've got a lot of work that I do that's mind work. And so when I come home, one of the nice things to do is to actually do movement rather than I do feel kind of sluggish, but I do movement instead. And most of the time that's what I need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually have you lie down first, because if we have come home after a long day of work, we're a little tired. A lot of times it's better to meet yourself where you're at rather than start in standing and just kind of going from being really sleepy and sluggish to movement. So let's just allow ourselves to just be happy with where we're at, how we're feeling. And I really love this when I come into a practice where I lie down or sit cross-legged and just take a moment to meet yourself where you're at. So take a couple of deep breaths as you settle into your position of lying down with your knees bent. And just become aware of the hips or the pelvis, your mid back, as well as the back of your head. So those three heavy points that are resting on the floor. You may even do an audible out breath through your mouth. And now that we've just allowed ourselves to meet ourselves where we're at, bring your awareness down to the bottoms of your feet, and particularly the center of the heels, ball of the foot on both feet, as well as the base of the baby toe. And from here, we're going to start to do a little bit of hip elevation. We're going to inhale and bring your hips up, which brings your legs into or hips into extension. And exhale and lower your hips back down. So you go back to feeling those three heavy points on the mat. Okay, feel down into your feet again. Breathe in and elevate your hips up, hip extension. And exhale, lower down. And let's do one more. A really nice pose if you actually have been sitting all day, because it does actually extend out those hip flexors, which might have been flexed for a very good portion of your day. So now we're going to bring your arms up and bring them overhead. Now, the thing here is that we're doing arm movement. So just go in a range that it's arm movement and you're not flaring the ribs out to the side or up. That brings you into a back bend. So just arm movement, breathe in, arms come overhead and back up to the ceiling. Let's do two more on the breath. So you breathe in as the arms move overhead. And exhale, bringing them back up toward the ceiling. And one more time. Okay, we're going to exhale, bringing the arms all the way back down to the floor. And now we're going to do 3 rounds of both hips extension, as well as the arms reaching overhead. So let's inhale. And then exhale, come down, arms and hips come down. Go through it again. Okay, so we'll move one more time into the pose of bridge, arms extended overhead. Now, on your exhale, keep your hips in extension and exhale, just bringing the arms down to meet the floor. Now, you could feel a little bit of retraction of your shoulder blades, which snugs the shoulder blades together, expressing a little bit more openness through the chest or through the heart center. Let's just take another breath here. Okay, and then wiggle your shoulder blades apart again as you start to bring the hips back down. And then this time, we're going to bring the knees in toward us. Bring your hands onto the shins and just pull the knees in. Feel your lower back and press into the floor. Okay, we're going to bring the feet back down to the floor. We're going to roll over to our side. And we're going to just come up to an all fours position. From here, I'm going to curl my toes into the floor. And if downward dog is appropriate for you, then let's bring the hips up toward the ceiling and pressing it into your palms. We're creating a nice long extension through the spine. And now I'm going to start to lower my knees back toward the floor, hover an inch and bring them on knees to the mat and go back into a child's pose on an exhale. Okay, so now we're going to inhale, come up. Now, if downward dog isn't your thing, just keep going through back into child's pose. Okay, if downward dog is okay for you, then let's exhale back into downward dog. And now this time, we're going to stay for a breath. Now we're slowly lowering the knees to the floor with control. You'll start to notice that as the knees get a little bit closer to the floor and they're hovering, that you have some activation of your core muscles. Exhale back into the child's pose. Okay. And then from here, we're just going to come up onto our, come up into hero's pose. So we're just kneeling. Just feel that stretch on the tops of the feet. And then from there, we're going to come up onto the knees and just make it easy on yourself and come up to standing. And then from your standing position, we're going to breathe the arms up and exhale the arms down. So feel heavy into your feet. So go back down to the awareness of your feet, center of the heels, balls of the feet, and the bases of your baby toes. Maybe even a little bit of a shoulder roll if your shoulders feel tight. We're going to inhale, the arms sweep up. And exhale, the arms down. We're going to do two more, but we're also going to lift off the heels. So we're going to inhale. Come down on your exhale. And last one here. You should start to notice that even as you start to cycle through some of these movements, movement on or with the breath, that the mind starts to relax and it shifts from that the activities of the day to be in the present moment of now. So let's come up to the top of the mat. And from here, we're going to extend the right leg back, a little bit of external rotation. So I'll face this way so you can see it front on. So I'm standing here, right leg extends back, a little bit of external rotation, plant that foot down to the floor. So you see my hips stayed nice and level as I did so. And from here, we're going to move in and out of warrior one. So you're going to inhale, bend that front knee, arms sweep up, and we'll exhale and bring the arms back down. So let's increase the inhalation now. So 5 count inhale. Okay, so I'm going to just switch direction. Now I'm going to do a 6 count inhale. So we're just continuing to increase the flow of the energy into the heart center. 7 count. Inhale. And then if you've got the capacity for it, move to an 8 count inhale. And if that's going to be too much of a stretch, just stay back at the 7 or 6. Okay, and now I'm going to stay here for 3 breaths. And you can choose whichever count that you would like, 6, 7, or 8. And keep your eyes gazed forward out onto the horizon, nice soft eyes. And then we're going to take a last inhalation here. And then on the exhalation, sweep your arms around and then bring them together at the sternum. The thumbs can rest on the sternum and just gently nod your chin down to the palms of your hands. And release the arms and move back into stand-in pose, mountain pose. Now, just take a moment. So this is where we start to develop a keen awareness of what's happening in our system. So we've been practicing now for possibly about 10 minutes. Just start to feel the energy. What type of energy are you creating from doing the practices, the movements and the breath? So from here, now standing at the top of the mat again, we're going to now extend the left leg back. A little bit of external rotation, which brings that back leg foot into about 45 degrees. I like to keep my hips not hitched up on either side so they're level. And then from here, we're going to move through that cycle again. So we'll breathe the arms up as we bend the knee. And exhale, straighten the leg as the arms come down. 5 count inhale. Now we'll move to a 6. And as you're going through the cycles and starting to increase the inhalations, just soften the muscles in your face. Just allow the lips to kind of gently move as if they're going to go into a smile, just so that the face stays nice and soft and relaxed, releasing tension. And then if you've got the capacity for it, we're going to go for that 8 count inhalation. Then we're going to stay in the pose for our 3 breaths on this side. You could gently lift the chin. Feel the breath rise up into the heart center, into the upper lungs. And take another inhalation, and then on the exhale, sweep the arms around, and then your chin tucks in, bow into the palms of your hands. Beautiful. Let's inhale and straighten that front leg. Release the arms down. We'll just take a little spin to our left, so in a wider leg. I'm going to actually reach for my block because I'm going to bring us into a little bit of rotation or twist. So I'm going to bring a block right there in the center between my legs. And from here, I'm going to bring my hands to the upper part of the back of the legs. That encourages a little bit of retraction of the shoulder blades, which keeps this nice open space through the heart center or through the chest. Take a breath in. And then hinge forward at the hips, letting your hands just travel down the backs of the legs. And then from here, just pick up your body about halfway. So I'll go sideways so that you're coming into a nice extension through the spine. So if you're extended through the spine, there might be a little bit of retraction of the shoulder blades, not kind of rounding like this, but nice, pick up the spine and be nice and long and strong. From here, I'm going to exhale, forward fold again, placing that left hand on the block, which is set up underneath my face. I'm going to sweep the right arm around to rest on my back. Okay. So I'm going to sweep the right arm back and rest the top of my hand on the back. I'm going to take a breath in here keeping the spine nice and long. I'm going to softly bend my knees, not too much, so that I keep my hips level. And now I'm going to twist or rotate to the right. Okay, I'm going to just come out of that a little bit. Inhale. And then I'm going to repeat. On an exhale, I'm twisting to my right. And then I'm going to take my right arm and I'm going to reach it forward. I'm going to look down. And then I'm going to extend it out and come back into the rotation. Now it's less about that arm moving back. So the arm can kind of get to a point where it pauses, and now it's just rotation of the ribs. So my hips are staying nice and level, ribs open, and I'm in a nice twist. We're going to come back to the center, place the hands to the floor, just gently pulse here. And let's sweep the hands to the back again, and with a nice flat back, we'll come all the way up. And then we can bring ourselves back into a mountain pose. I'd like us to just come back into our center and notice sensations, notice shifts in how we're feeling. Notice if you're feeling more energized, if that was sort of your intention, it was my intention. And then we'll go to the other side. So I'm going to come this way. I'm going to inhale here and I'm going to forward fold. Just trying to think here. I did go left. Yep. I'm going to forward fold. So this is your hips moving on your leg bones as you move into the forward fold. You can have your legs straight, or you can have a slight bend in the knees. We will be bending them a little bit as we go into the rotation. And then I'm going to pick myself up to that halfway. I'm going to press my hands onto the shins, if you like. Elongate through the spine. The head is just an extension out of your spine. Then on an exhale, I'm going to move into the forward fold as the right hand lands on the block. If you're a little bit more flexible, it can go to the floor. But what I'd like us to be aware of is that if we go to the floor and now we're rounding, the twist is going to be awkward. So if that's happening to you with your hand on the floor, then bring something under it. Maybe the block is too high. You could get a book or whatever it might be that just raises it up enough that you can keep a nice long spine. From here, I'm going to breathe in. My left hand's on the back. And then on the exhale, I'm going to twist and rotate open to the left. Let's feel the twist come out as we bring the ribs back around. Hips stay level. Breathe in here. And then exhale, go back into your rotation. And now we'll play around with sweeping the arm forward, looking down. And then I'm going to exhale. Arm comes now in line with the shoulder. Going to bring it up a little bit more, but I don't want it to be about an arm stretch. It's more about rib rotation. And then when you're ready, we're going to bring both hands to land again on the floor. Just a little gentle pulsing here. And then we're going to bring our hands up the backs of the legs and come all the way back up to a standing mountain pose. Should be feeling a little bit more energized than when we began. So from here, we're just going to finish off with the standing work in Goddess. So I'm going to take my legs into a wider stance. And then from your leg bones, where you feel the leg bones insert into the hip sockets, you're going to externally rotate those leg bones. Okay, so there's the leg bones face in front, which makes my toes point front. But if I externally rotate my leg bones, the feet move out to 45 degrees. Okay, from here, I'm going to bring my hands onto the hips again. I'm going to feel down into the bottoms of my feet, center of the heels, balls of the feet, and the bases of the baby toes. You might even feel that as you do that, your arches pick up a little bit. From here, I'm going to start to bring my hands to the upper part of the back of the legs, where the leg bones are feeding into the hip sockets, and kind of push toward your hands. Bend the knees to a comfortable depth. And then from here, we're going to just bring the arms up in line with the shoulders and bend the elbows. We'll stay for 3 breaths. Remember, soft muscles in your face and that little bit of a line on your lips as if you're about to smile does actually relax all the muscles in your face. And then maybe you can go just a little bit deeper, breathe in and push all the way back up to standing and narrow in the stance again into mountain pose. All right, so we're going to bring the palms together now in at the heart center, and we're going to just close the eyes, and we're going to close the practice here. So keeping in mind that this practice was intended for, you've come home from work, you've still got a bit of day to go, you've got probably your dinner to make and the evening also to get through. So we're not going to come back down to the floor to do floor work, but we're just going to take a moment here to just come back into our awareness. So you could even spread out the arms, feel in all of that awareness and outside, and bring it inside. Maybe even closing your eyes as long as you've got your balance. And then that sort of brings you back, internalizing, noticing how you feel. And hopefully now you're a little bit more energized, a little bit more centered, and maybe the mind is a little bit clearer than when we started. So I hope you have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you on the mat the next time. Namaste.